Sir, inhibit the cell growth.
Nee, every anti-cancer will agent will be doing the same, na? So what is the anti-metabolite? What do you understand by the metabolite first and then the anti-metabolite? Have you heard about the metabolism? For example, why you are taking the food? For example, if I say you are having the food, you are having the breakfast, lunch, or dinner, why you are taking the food? Is it a routine or you need something out of it? Basically, we need the energy, right, to survive. चाहिए नहीं चाहिए energy? We require the energy, right? So now when we are taking the food, so basically our cell are getting some nutrition, right? And when the cell are getting some nutrition, what is happening? The cell are dividing, right? The cells are dividing for the either dividing or they are differentiating, right? If they are dividing, they are forming some new tissues, and inversely or the directly they are helping in the growth and the development of an individual, right? So this is the thing, right? So now when I am saying that the nutrition is actually taken by the cells for their growth and division, right? The nutrition is taken by the cell for the growth and the division. So for example, when the cells are the cancer cell, what will happen? What will happen? They will be actually taking the nutrition from the food which we are eating, and they will divide rapidly, right? For example, in our body the folic acid is there, right? The folic acid is required for what? The folic acid is required for the maturation of the RBCs and the growth of the new cells or formation of the nitrogenous bases. And the nitrogenous bases are used in what? Nitrogenous bases are basically used in the synthesis of the DNA or the de novo purine synthesis, purine and the pyrimidine synthesis, what we called in the biochemistry, right? So basically now what is happening? These nitrogenous bases are actually forming the DNA, right? And then DNA is making multiple copies by the mechanism of the replication, right? Then that DNA is forming what? That DNA is forming the rRNA, sorry, RNA, right? RNA can be of three types: mRNA, rRNA, tRNA, right? Then that RNA is forming what? That RNA is forming the proteins, right? And that proteins are actually functional, right? Actually functional. They will be performing some specific functions of the body, right? So now if we can block these metabolites from inserting into the cancer cell, what will happen? The cancer cell will not get any nutrition and eventually they will die, right? So this is the thing what the anti-metabolites are actually doing, right? So they are actually mimicking, the anti-metabolites are actually mimicking the natural substrates in the body, right, which are actually responsible for this formation of the DNA or the RNA, right? So how it is done? See, this was the definition. The slides are visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, now see, anti-metabolites are structurally similar to the natural purine or the pyrimidine bases, or they are similar to the nucleoside or the nucleotide, right? So they are the molecule which look similar, but they are not similar to the natural molecules, but they look similar. If they have a similar look, what they will do? They will be used instead of these things like the purines and the pyrimidines, and eventually the cell will not get what it requires, right? The cancer cell will not get what it actually requires. The cancer cell require what? It requires some natural purines and the pyrimidine bases for its growth, right? But it will not get it. So if it is not getting the proper thing what it require for its growth, what will happen? The cell will eventually die. The cancer cell will eventually die, right? So this are what we call the anti-metabolites. So I'll be just giving you some examples to make you more clear about this thing, right? So now what these molecules have, they have the tendency to unite with the active sites as if they are the actual substrate, right? So they will be behaving in a similar manner as if they are the actual substrate, right? So this is the thing, right? So what they are doing, they are interfering with the normal metabolic process within the cell and preventing the synthesis of the DNA, RNA, and the cell division, right? So this is the thing. So this we have discussed yesterday. We have discussed that there can be the 4 type of antimetabolites, and in your syllabus there are the 3 types of. One is the antifolic acid compound, analogs of purine, analogs of pyrimidine, and in the 4th category there are the analogs of the amino acids, right? Because the amino acids are also essential in synthesis of protein, right? So in your syllabus we have to deal with these 3 types of antimetabolites, right? First will be the antifolic acid compound, where we will be dealing about the methotrexate. Then there will be the analogs of the purine, and then there will be the analogs of the pyrimidine, right? So firstly, I'll be discussing about the folic acid, antifolic acid compounds, or the folate metabolites, folate antimetabolites, right? So the drug in this category is the methotrexate, right? So this is the folic acid. This is the folic acid. The folic acid is actually used in our body for the DNA synthesis, amino acid synthesis, and for the methylation, right? We also say the tetrahydrofolic acid. The tetrahydrofolic acid is the active form, right? Or we call it the folic acid, right? So basically this is required for the synthesis of DNA, amino acid, and for the methylation. So now what is happening in the body, how folic acid is synthesized first. So the folic acid is synthesized by 3 vital chemicals, right? One is the 2-amino 4-hydroxypyridine, right? This is the pyridine, right? Then what is there? There is a 4-amino benzoic acid, what we call it. We also call it PABA, para-amino benzoic acid, right? Where the sulfur drug acts, right? You might have heard about the sulfonamides and other drugs, right? So sulfonamide drugs actually act on this thing, right? Then there are the polyglutamate, right? So all these molecules together form this large macromolecule, right? This large macromolecule is called the folate or the folic acid, right? So these 3 chemicals are making the folic acid, right? Now the how this folic acid is synthesized in the body, right? So in the body we all know that we have some enzymes, right, which catalyzes the reaction. For example, if you are doing in the reaction some reaction in the lab, we require the catalyst. So in a similar way in our body there are some enzymes. Enzymes are what? Enzymes are the biocatalyst, right, which are actually making some compounds, right, in the body, or the bio macromolecules, right? So basically this folate is then get activated. This is the folate. This get activated by the 2 enzymes. One is the dihydrofolate synthase, right, to form the dihydrofolic acid, and then there is the tetrahydrofolate reductase to form the tetrahydrofolic acid or the tetrahydrofolate, right? So this tetrahydrofolate is an active form of the folic acid, right? This is an active form. The tetrahydrofolic acid is the active form of the folic acid. So this folic acid is utilized for the synthesis of DNA, RNA, or the methylation, right? So now it is coming like this, okay, right? So it is used for the synthesis of the nitrogenous bases of DNA. So nitrogenous bases will be what? They will be the purine or the pyrimidine, right? So now there is a drug called methotrexate, right? So now I'll just go to this structure, right? So now see, this is your folate. This is your folate. This is a natural molecule, right? For example, I'll just go with the pen. So see, this is the folate or the THF, tetrahydrofolic acid, which is actually responsible for the synthesis of the nitrogenous bases. Now see, this is the drug, methotrexate, right? So if you look at the structure of this folate and this methotrexate, right, it is almost same. It is almost same. The difference is actually here, right? The difference is actually at these 2 sides, only these 2 sides. What we have here, we have a amine, right? There is a hydrogen, and in this case the hydrogen is replaced with the methyl, right? And this keto group is replaced with the amine group, NS2, right, with a double bond, right? So this is only the difference between the folate and the methoxystructate, right? So now see this molecule methoxystructate will bind instead of this folate, right? And if this molecule, this methoxystructate is able to mimic this folate, what will happen? Anyone? What will happen if this molecule is able to mimic this drug, this natural folate? What will happen? Anyone? Anyone? See, this is the drug, this is the synthetic molecule, right? And this is the natural biomacromolecule, right? So what will happen if this drug can mimic this folate? What will happen? Anyone? Something will happen or not?
Sir, the drug will compete with folate for sites.
Exactly, the drug will compete with the folate for the sites, and what will happen? Eventually, it will block the synthesis of the nitrogenous bases, right? This will happen.
Yes, sir.
Right? So now, if the nitrogenous bases will not be formed, तो क्या होगा? If nitrogenous bases will not be formed, basically your DNA and RNA will not be synthesized, right? Because from what the DNA and RNA are made up of? DNA and RNA are made up of nitrogenous bases, whether we talk about the purines or the pyrimidines, right? So basically, if this drug, this methoxystructate is able to mimic this folate, right? So basically your nitrogenous bases will not be formed, or the biological activity of this folate will be lost, right? So this is the common thing how the antimetabolites work, right? Now see, simple thing. This is the methoxystructate. So basically what is happening, I'll just open the pointer. Right. So methoxystructate enters the tissue and is converted to the methoxystructate polyglutamate by the polyglutamate, right? This is the enzyme which is converting this methoxystructate to the polyglutamate. So this is methoxystrate is converting to the polyglutamate, right, in the body. So basically the methoxystructate as such is a prodrug, right? So it will be converted to the glutamate, methoxystrate glutamate, right? 3 to 5 means polyglutamate, right? Now this molecule that is formed, that is an activated methoxystrate, what it will do, it will inhibit the enzymes responsible for the nucleotide synthesis, right? Why it will inhibit? Because it is mimicking the folic acid or the tetrahydrofolic acid. So now if it is mimicking the same molecule, it will inhibit the synthesis of the pyrimidine or the nucleic acid. Why? Because it will be mimicking the THF, right? Tetrahydrofolic acid, right? Because that THF is a natural molecule, right? The natural molecule is actually synthesizing the purines and the pyrimidines. But when it is a pseudo molecule, what it will do? It will block the mechanism, right? So it will inhibit the enzyme responsible for the nucleotide synthesis, including which two enzymes will be affected. So the important one will be the dihydrofolate reductase, and the second one will be the thymidylate synthase, right? So basically this will actually inhibit the formation of pyrimidine synthesis, nucleic acid methylation, and the purine synthesis. So this is one of the important thing how the metabolites work, right? So we have discussed the example of antifolic acid or the antifolates, right? So this was the example of the antifolates. Now I'll be moving towards the purines and the pyrimidines, right? So now see, this is a very common thing. If you remember this thing, you should remember, right? So basically when we talk about the DNA or the RNA, they are made up of the nitrogenous bases, right? We have the nitrogenous bases. So we have the pyrimidine and we have the purine, right? So in the pyrimidines category, what we have the cytosine, we have the thymine, and we have the uracil, right? And in the purine, what we have the adenine and the guanine, right? So in DNA, cytosine, thymine, adenine, and guanine are present, right? But in the RNA, this thymine is replaced by the uracil, right? This we all know thing, right? So now basically how the DNA double stranded helix is formed, right? It is formed by the hydrogen bonding, right? Adenine actually forms the hydrogen bond with the thymine, right? And the cytosine uh, actually forms the hydrogen bond with this guanine, right? So this is a very common thing you should remember always, right? So what were the alkylating agents were doing? Alkylating agents were actually forming the, what they were doing? They were reacting on the 7th position and of guanine, and they were forming an intra-strand crosslink, right? So this is the common thing, right? So now, as such, these are not active. As such, these nitrogenous bases are not active. They get activated when they are phosphorylated, right? So the phosphorylation is one of the thing how the biomolecules get activated, right? We know about the ATP, adenosine triphosphate, right? ATP is an active form, but from what it is made up of? It is made up of AMP. Then AMP is the adenine monophosphate, right? Then AMP converts into the ADP, adenine diphosphate. And then we have the ATP, adenine triphosphate, which is the active form, right? In the similar way, all these nitrogenous bases require the triphosphorylation for their activation. And when they are in the triphosphate form, they get activated, right? So this is the very common thing you should remember, right? So all the active forms of these biomacromolecules are in the triphosphate form, right? So now we will be dealing with two words, nucleotides and the nucleosides. So can anybody tell what is the difference between the nucleotide and the nucleoside? Anyone?
The nucleoside is structural unit of DNA or RNA.
नहीं, कुछ और important difference होता है? See this thing. See this for figure, for example. What we have here, we have a sugar. We have a sugar, right? And a nitrogenous base. We have a base and a sugar molecule. So the sugar molecule and the nitrogenous base is called the nucleoside. This is called the nucleoside. And when the phosphate group binds to it, when the phosphate, sugar, and the base is there, it is called the nucleotide, right? So the important difference between the nucleoside and the nucleoside is base plus sugar. Base means this adenine, guanine, cytosine, uracil, or the thymine, right? We have a sugar, right? We have a sugar, for example, if it is a DNA, we have a deoxyribose, and if it is a RNA, we have a ribose, right? So basically this base and the sugar is forming the nucleoside, right? And this base, sugar, and phosphate, or we can say the nucleoside plus the phosphate is forming the nucleotide, right? So this is the important difference between the nucleoside and the nucleotide. This question might be asked in some GPAT exam. In the previous year question paper, this was the question, what is the difference between a nucleoside and the nucleotide? So this is the answer is very simple, right? So now I told for activation of these biomacromolecules, what we require the triphosphorylation, right? So how many phosphate group will be added? 3 phosphate group will be added, right, for their activation. So this is the first phosphate, right? This is the second phosphate, which is called as the nucleoside diphosphate, and then we have a third phosphate. So right, so they are looking at this side, this phosphate group, and it is called the triphosphate, right? So we require 3 phosphates for the activation, right? This is the common thing. So activated nitrogenous base consists of sugar and the triphosphate group, right? So this triphosphate group is important for the energy. And when the biomacromolecule will be in the triphosphate form, only then it will be activated. So this is a very common thing you should remember, right? Now, अभी हमने क्या एग्जांपल देखा था? हमने देखा था एंटीफोलेट एजेंट्स, राइट? वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द फोलिक एसिड antagonist, right? Or we were calling them antimetabolites, right? So now here what we'll have, for example, this is the natural purine. Excuse me. So for example, this is the purine. This is the natural purine. So all the analogs of the purine, so all the analogs of the purine will look like the natural purine, right? So this is the first thing when we are dealing with the anti-metabolites, right? So this is the thing. So the first drug in this category is the thioguanine, right? So see this thing, this natural purine ring is there, right? The second thing is the mercaptopurine. Right. The second thing is the mercaptopurine, and in the mercaptopurine what we have, this thia group. That's why this is called the mercapto. Mercapto is basically the sulfur group, right? The thio is also the sulfur group. So basically this is the purine ring. I'll be concluding from this side tomorrow, right? In the next class. So if anybody have any questions or doubts, I do not know, I have got the sore throat, right? So if anybody having any doubts from the previous classes, they may ask. So if any doubts or any queries are there, so please ask. So you can do one thing, you can just write down your queries or the questions, right? So if there will be any queries or the question, I'll readdress them on our next class, right? So I'll be putting this thing in the Moodle, right? And also what I have placed in the Moodle, I have just recorded these all the sessions, and all these recorded sessions can be found in the Moodle. I have just uploaded these files in the YouTube also, right? So you can just find the links from the Moodle of these recorded lectures, right? So thank you for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.